Hey friend, it's Ange here. And today in the show, we're talking about how sometimes we can get really frustrated at ourselves, mad at ourselves, that we aren't making the kind of progress that we want to in some area of our lives, or we're like impatient for that progress. And today I want to talk about how sometimes I feel like we think it's like a discipline issue. Like we just need to be more intentional with our time. We need to be more disciplined, and then we'll make the kind of progress that we want to. We may need to work on that thing more. And although that might be true, like you need some discipline in your life for sure, and you do need to give energy to that thing. What I have found is a lot of times when I'm not making the kind of progress that I want to in some area of my life, it's usually because there's a big energy leak that's happening. There's a foundational thing that's going on, a foundational issue. So I want to shine a light on that in case this relates to what you're going through in your life, because I don't think many people talk about this piece of it. Like many people want to talk about progressing and being disciplined and having willpower and all that good stuff, which is important. But they don't often talk about the stuff that gets in the way of you being the kind of person that you want to be, and how maybe there is a crack in the foundation, a hole in the boat that needs to be plugged in before you actually can make the kind of progress that you want to. That's where I'm going with this. All right. So where did this even come up, like this whole topic? Well, recently I found myself feeling frustrated, mad at myself that I wasn't making the kind of progress that I wanted to. And I was like trying to focus on these different projects that I'm wanting to work on. And like, think about how applies to your life, whatever it is that you want to make progress in. You're trying to focus on that thing, but it's like you find yourself distracted because there's all this other stuff that needs your attention. And then maybe you're just energetically not feeling it. Like like higher version of yourself is like, yeah, I want to progress in this area. But like, there's another part of yourself that's like energetically though, like I'm not really feeling like I can focus enough, or I'm motivated enough, or I feel distracted. Like that kind of energy stuff is getting in the way of you making the progress. So what I realized for me was that there was some big areas of my life that I was generating a lot of catabolic energy in. And that was affecting my ability to focus in the area that I wanted to focus in. Because this is how energy works. You have anabolic energy and catabolic energy. I talk about this a lot on the show. Catabolic energy is energy that is draining and resisting. Catabolic energy, when you generate it, you often feel very stressed. You often feel scattered. You have a hard time focusing. It's a very distracting energy. The energy of being in the state of like confusion, that's a catabolic state. That's why I'm often helping people get clarity. Why? Because I want to shift them out of a catabolic state. Instead of staying in this confusion land where you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm not sure. And then you just don't take any action, and you're also beating yourself up internally because you're not taking action, but you're like stewing in this confusion state. Like it's not a good place to be energetically. Like get clear on what you want, and then you will feel that energy shift and you will start to move forward. So I digress, but that's my case for why I love helping people with the clarity and the vision side of things, because I want to reduce that catabolic energy in their life. So what was going on for me is I noticed that, again, big areas of my life where there was energy leaks happening in these foundational areas of my life. All right, so the big three areas I want to talk about are relationships, health, and your environment. I think these are foundational areas of our life that we want to make sure we're doing well in. Because if you're trying to progress in another area, let's say your career, you're trying to progress in that area, but your main relationship is really struggling, that's going to affect your energy. And you're not going to be able to show up with really good energy in the career space because you're one person and you're all connected. You're an energetic being. So this is what I see with people. Is like I'm working with them on their career stuff, but then there's a lot of other big energy leaks that are happening that we need to address. So another one could be your health. Like you don't feel as good in your body. Like you don't feel energized. You don't feel confident in your body. You just feel like you're not getting the activity that you want. You feel like you're not eating well. You're always tired. All the things like that. That is a huge energy leak. So if you're trying to progress again in other areas, it would make sense that you're not making the kind of progress that you want because you don't have the health that you need to get there. You're not tuned to the right frequency to actually make the progress. Because this is what I've learned about people. When they start feeling better, They start progressing more. This is why I coach around energy. And it's not just about strategy. I am very strategic though, not going to lie. But I feel like you got to get the energy in alignment with the strategy. That's the perfect match there. And some people are too focused on the strategy and not enough on the energy. Some people are too focused on the energy, but they don't give you good strategies to move forward. Okay. So we got environment. That's the third energetic foundation. What does this look like? This could look like your environment is a hot mess and it's very distracting to you. And it makes it so that you can't focus on the things that you want to focus on. You can't progress because it's just chaos everywhere, or things aren't organized, or you try to go do something and it takes way longer because it's not organized. I've lived that life. I feel like there's some parts of my life, keeping it real, that are still like that, like my tech mess that's happening. And I feel like it can trigger me into a catabolic state. Like, let's say I'm going to work on a creative project. I turn the computer on and it's like all these folders are open, all these pictures are everywhere, and it's not organized. It can be very draining to you. And then you can't focus. There's a leak that's happening there. And it steals your energy. Like, it distracts you. You see the mess, you see the thing. And this is why oftentimes I don't even work from home. If I'm not actually having to record something at home, like a Zoom or be in a space where it's like quiet, like a Zoom call or recording a podcast or something, you will most likely find me at a coffee shop. Why? Because I get too distracted by stuff in my house. Like, I can't. Like, I'm like, oh, that thing needs to be clean. I can't turn it off. I got to keep like looking at it. It's my ADD too that gets in the way. But anyways, I know that about myself because I will leak energy and focus there. So I want you to think about these three areas, okay? And what I'm going to do is this is the start of a series that we're doing. We're doing a series on these energetic foundations. I got to find a better way to talk about this. But in a nutshell, we're going to have episodes to follow this one that target these three buckets: the relationships, the health, and the environment piece, so that you can make sure you're not leaking massive energy in those areas so that you can progress in the way that you want to progress, because these are foundational things. The other reason why I wanted to bring this up is this has been a huge topic that I've been working on with my own personal coach, because she says to me, she's like, "And you're so ambitious, right? You want to do all these different things, but it's like you are trying to build multiple apartments on a cracked foundation. Like, what would make sense for you is to fix the foundation and then build from there. It'll be so much better." But you know what we do? We don't like working on the foundational stuff because the foundational stuff doesn't look good. It's not shiny. In fact, it's kind of boring sometimes. And we want to make the kind of progress that is more shiny and more exciting. And that doesn't always serve you. And that's a reminder that I needed to hear. Like, hey, I know you want to progress in your keynote speaking stuff. I know you want to be traveling and speaking at these different events and reaching more people. But Ange, your closet's a hot mess. You can't even find your clothes in there. You know, like what are you going to even wear when you go there? Like, you know, so it's like foundational things. And the reason why it's a hot mess, truthfully, is because we've been traveling a lot, and we will Airbnb our lake house sometimes when we travel, and we put everything in the closet. So it's like when I get home and it's late, it's like I don't always have the time to unpack everything, and then it's like a last priority thing. So that's what's been happening lately in my life. But it affects it. Like affects my energy when I'm trying to sit down and focus on progressing. And the one thing I'm like, oh, what am I going to wear today? And I just, then that affects how I feel in my body and when I try to sit down. So all of this stuff is connected. So oftentimes I'm working with people on like basic health habits. And when they're feeling good about their morning routine, when they're feeling good about the fact that they've been walking throughout the day, they did some little weightlifting here and there, when they're feeling stronger and more energized, they make so much more progress when it comes to their career. And even when they talk to people, when they have like meetings with people, they're high vibing and their conversations go really well. But, you know, a lot of times people will come to me and they're like, I don't want to work on that. Like, I'm here to work with you specifically on my strategy when it comes to my career. And I'm like, okay, but this is what I'm going to tell you. You ain't going to get anywhere if you're only focusing on your strategy, you're not focusing on your energy, because based on everything you're telling me, based on all the questions I ask you in advance when you work with me, I can see there are huge energy leaks here. And we need to target where that energy is leaking, where you're generating catabolic energy because you're a whole person. This is what I'm talking about. So I have this episode here for you because maybe you need this reminder. Maybe you need this reminder that like, hey, I know you want to work on the shiny things. I know you want to make the progress on all the stuff, but is there some area of your life where you know there's a lot of energy leaking there, where it's causing a lot of stress for you? And what is that area? And what if you shifted a little bit and you started focusing on that area? And maybe it wouldn't lead to all these things that you can brag about in the moment that you're proud of yourself that you did. Because let's be real, when I run, like when I do like a marathon or a half marathon or something like that, cool, or a really massive long hike, I'm just so excited about it. I want to tell everybody about it. I'm just like, I did this and so I'm proud of myself. Not really from an ego place of like, look at me, but more of like, I am proud of myself. That feels fun to share. When I clean up my desktop, I'm not out there being like, hey, clean my desktop. I'm so proud of myself, even though I would be proud of myself if I did that. I would dread doing it though, not going to lie. But that may need to be done for me to be the person that is focused enough to train for the marathon or do the gig or get the job or fill in the blank of whatever applies to you. So think about those foundational things that don't feel exciting to work on, but you know would impact your energy so much. And sometimes this is something like, I remember a long time ago when I just wanted to like wake up in the morning and walk down and see like my kitchen nice and clean. Like I had a beautiful kitchen that greeted me and I had my pretty glass of water that I was going to drink right when I woke up. So I was hydrated. And I had like a little tray that had all my cute vitamins and stuff on it. And it looked pretty. And it started my energy off like just feeling good. And my journal was set out and I could sit there and like do my journaling, have my coffee before I was distracted by like my children or like, you know, like anything like that or anything else in the world. And it just felt good to start my day like that. So I had to get my kitchen together. I had to get it organized and set up to serve the person that I wanted to be. But is that something that I'm necessarily going to be putting out there and bragging about and celebrating? Probably not. Not going to lie, though, I probably would like share that I did get my kitchen together because I'd be excited about that. But anyways, my point is that it's not always like the shiny stuff, you know? So it's these foundational things. So I really want you to think about, what is it that you feel like is really draining your energy? It could be anything. It could be the environment. It could be your main relationship that you're feeling a lot of stress in. It could be your health. And what I want to encourage you to do is to get like help with that area and make progress on it. And I'm going to deep dive into these three main areas because I think they're foundational: relationships, health, and the environment. Let's go there a little bit though. Okay. So for me, one of the big energy leaks, keeping it real with you, that was happening for me was my main relationship with my husband. I felt a lot of stress in that area. I felt like we're very disconnected, and especially since I've had Zion, because I've been so focused, and I know other moms can relate to this. Like when you transition into motherhood, it really changes your life. It rocks your world, you know, and you're still figuring out who am I in this new season. And then all my focus went on my son. So I truly did neglect my relationship with my husband because I was focused on my son and focused on trying to literally be in survival mode. And I was sleep deprived and all the things. And I feel like it really affected our relationship where I felt like a disconnect. And then just other stuff started surfacing because the catabolic energy was already there generating. We're like kind of disconnect. We're all in survival mode. We're all stressed out. And then we've had some other issues in the past with family related things. And if you know me, you know what I'm talking about, that have been really hard over the years. And my husband would agree with me around the challenges that we've faced when it comes to our extended family challenges. And the energy that gets generated in that space, he would totally agree with me on the difficulties of that. It's not like we're in disagreement of like how difficult and challenging it is. And I do think we're on the same page. But then when you have family dynamics, it's like, well, it's our family. And, you know, do you really avoid these people forever just because, you know, it's your family? You don't want to live with regrets. But then it's like this, you know, it gets complicated. It gets complicated. So I kind of I've gotten to the point now, especially since I've had my son, is that I really want to be intentional with my time. And I've decided that I don't want people in my life that are just so draining to be around. And I know I'm responsible for my own energy, just like you are. Like, own that. Because we often blame other people for how, like, they show up and we're like, they're just awful and they make me feel bad. Oh, man. When someone says someone makes me feel this way, I want to be like, don't give your power away like that. Because you decide how you feel. Yes, you may need to manage your energy a lot better, like around that person. That person can very much trigger you, hands down, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's your own lens and how you see things that determines how you feel. So with that said, I've noticed around a particular person, I have to work so much harder to manage my energy. And I don't like that. So I've decided that I don't want, like, with the limited amount of time that we have, and since I've had my son, it's like he's grown so fast, and I realize how fast time goes. I'm like, I don't want to be wasting it around people who just like drain me galore, or like I share good news and I don't feel like they're very happy for me. I feel like they're not rooting for me. It's like those kinds of people, and you're like, why am I spending time with you when time is so limited? And I don't care if you have like family card, like family status. Like, there's some people in your life that aren't actually part of your real family blood wise, but they feel like family to you and they support you like family does. So like that, for me, the title of it, I don't really feel like that matters so much to me. It's more about your energy and how you show up and how you behave. So this is what I've decided. I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. And that has caused some tension, keeping it real, because I've decided you can do whatever you want. But I am not going to put myself in situations where I feel like it's just so draining to me and I'm not enjoying myself and I'm criticized and mean things are said to me. I feel like I'm not going to do that anymore. And then and even though like my husband can understand, he understands and he gets it and he understands why I feel that way, but it's hard for him because other dynamics. And I even understand where he's coming from. So it's been like a big tension thing for us. And we both have a pretty high awareness. So we talked through these things, but I'm like, I don't think this is something that we're just going to resolve overnight. Like, this is a history. This is years of stuff like this happening, that keeps getting triggered. Like, it's like you shove it down, it comes back up, and I know that. So basically, I knew this was an energy leak for us. I'm like, we got to figure this out because I feel like there's catabolic energy here that's generating and I don't like it because it affects other areas of my life. And I also don't want that tension from in front of my son. Like I don't want that. And the way that Ian and I too, we're more of like the ignore each other type. We're not like the like screaming at each other type. Like if we're upset with each other, it's like, I'm just going to ignore you. And he's going to do the same thing for me. We default to what I would call level 1 and just avoid and ignore. But then you have people that default to like anger, screaming, that kind of thing. That's not really us. But I know my son can feel energy. So if I'm upset with my husband, I know he feels that. And that matters a lot to me, how my son is feeling energetically and the environment that I provide for him. So basically, we've talked about these things. So what I did was I found a retreat for my husband and I to go to work on our relationship, to improve our relationship around some of these family dynamics that have been an ongoing issue and figure out a solution for us to move forward. Because I think in a sense, we've both been given our power away to like an external thing that's really affected us. So anyways, this is me being vulnerable and sharing with you real life stuff that we experience as humans. And I'm not one to just like give up on things. Like I am the one that's like, let's figure this out. Let's make things better. So, I mean, I'm nowhere like, I just want to be clear. I'm not like trying to divorce my husband or anything. It's not to that point. Like, no, I'm just saying that this has been a challenge that has been ongoing that I'm like, okay, there's an energy leak here. Let's figure it out. And sometimes it's something even smaller. Like it could just be like, you get annoyed about like, there's been times like I'm annoyed where I'm like, I feel like you get to do whatever you want and I don't. Like, I'm annoyed by that. Like I'm the primary caregiver and it's like, even though, my husband's supporting in a lot of different ways, we know other moms can relate to this. You do take on sometimes, maybe a lot of time, the majority of the caregiving role. That's just there in the nature of things. So sometimes I feel like I'm going to keep it real. I found myself resentful about it. And that's catabolic energy generating. So that could just straight up be like, we need to figure out this. We need to talk about this more. Or I need to just let it out and tell you this is how I'm feeling. Because it's affecting other areas of my life and how I show up. So that's an example of the relationship piece for me. And I just want you to think about what that looks like for you. And then when it comes to our health, and again, I'm going to go into an episode for each of these and give you some more things that you can actually be doing, and restructuring of things like strategies and stuff that you can move forward with, things that I think that will really help your energy. But even with like health, I know for me, like when I track my energy, I actually track the days, like how my energy is during the day. I'm like, oh, I felt very energized today. And I make so much progress when I feel energized. I have the best conversations when I feel good and energized. And you know what it starts off with? It starts off with me caring for myself. Like the mornings that I actually get a workout in, that I like go stand in the sunshine and have it like hit my face, and I spend some time like writing down my thoughts, my energy is amazing. And I create amazing opportunities from that place. When I don't though, when I'm leaking, I don't make good progress. It's literally like, visualize this. It's like you're in a canoe, you're trying to like paddle along and get somewhere, but you just keep paddling, but there's a hole in your boat and it's like holding you back and it's like filling up with water. It's like, you got to patch that hole. You got to fix it. So then you can make more progress. And then when it comes to your environment, I talked enough about this a little bit, already, as far as like just chaotic environment in general. Even systems that aren't working well, the schedule or food. Food can be a big thing for people around, like you just hate figuring out what you're eating for dinner every day. It's like, it's annoying. And you have to think about everybody else's food too, what they're eating, and getting all the groceries and making sure it gets to your house or whatever. Or if you have a membership or subscription, sometimes, like for me, what I've struggled with, some people are like, just get a subscription and then it gets sent to your house. Well, I'm not home all the time. And then I'm like having to remember, oh, I got to cancel this one and this will work. And it's just like a lot to think about, and it generates catabolic energy. So that could be an environmental thing where you're just like, I got to figure that out because I hate dealing with that every day, you know? So it's like, what is it that is draining that energy for you? I hope this has you thinking about like, okay, I got to shift my energy and focus, or my focus, and focus more on that part that I know is really draining my energy before trying to progress and on these other shiny areas that, yeah, I know in my heart I want to progress in, but these other areas need attention first. It's like the hole in the boat needs your attention first before you can paddle along. And I trust this. When you actually work on those areas, I promise you'll make so much more progress. You'll move so much faster when you actually fix that. Because sometimes in our scarcity mindset, we can be like, because there's a scarcity version of all of us, we can be like, well, no, I got to keep moving on this other thing. I got to keep pedaling along or I'll not get there. Like I can't focus on the hole in the boat. And or else you'll be behind. But that's just a lie of the enemy, I feel like. Because God will always give you back that time. And with favor, you can progress so much faster. So focus on the things that really matter. And really what matters is your biggest, like your most important relationships. They matter the most. Figure that stuff out if you have some issues there. Health. Your health matters the most. You can't put a price on your health. And your environment, the environment that you create for yourself, that you're in every single day, and what's a part of that. Get all that foundational stuff figured out. If it's leaking, I'm not saying everything's going to be perfect in every area and only move forward when it's perfect. No, that's a horrible way to live because nothing will be perfect. It's kind of like the mindset of only move forward when it's like things are less busy, because a lot of us are often waiting. We're like, when things slow down, then I'll make the progress. Like things ain't going to slow down. They never do. They just keep picking out. There's just another problem that may show up. Like that is how life is. So don't be waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. You need to prioritize simply what is important. So I'm not advocating that you need to be perfect in all these areas, but I am advocating for this. If you know there is a big energy leak in any of those areas I just mentioned to you, figure that out. Patch that hole before you try to pedal along and progress in some other shiny object area. It's a foundational thing that needs to be figured out. It's like you got to fix the crack in the foundation before you can build more apartments. Otherwise, there's no point of you building the apartments, because guess what? All those apartments will come crashing down later. That's how this stuff works. All right. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope you're excited about the series that's coming up. I think what we're going to dive into next is I want to dive into the health next. So we got those 3 episodes coming up, and then it's going to be health, relationships, environment, and then I'm going to wrap it up with just some strategies that you can use to intentionally design all of these pieces of your life. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you did. Reach out if you have any questions. I know some people have been reaching out to me about working with me one-on-one. So I do have some emails I need to reply to. but you asked me about packages and what that looks like. And what I'm simply doing is I'm going to straight up send you my packages. And then you can look at it and it's very transparent and you can see what's a part of it. You can always customize your packages. So you can be like, oh, I don't think I need it that long, but could you do this? Would you consider that? I'm really good about those kinds of things. But I'm going to be fully transparent with you. I'm going to send it to you. And if you're like, I don't want to be part of that, then that's totally fine. No worries there. But I just feel like I don't like, personally for me, I got to keep it real with you guys. I don't really like when someone tries to put me on a call and then they're like sneaky about pricing and I know they're going to try to like lure me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like suspicious of that, but it's also because I have a lot of experience of being part of conversations like that and I know how it feels on the other end. That's why I like to be fully transparent and be like, here you go. Here's everything that is there. You decide if you feel like you want to invest in yourself, because that's ultimately what it is. It's not an investment in me. It's an investment in you. And the change starts when you make the commitment to yourself with the energy exchange. Money is energy. That's what it is. And if we have a scarcity mindset around money, you're going to reap that back. I'm working on my scarcity mindset. Trust me. God's really been working on me in that space. But I've realized something. It's just like, this is all energy. And when we have open palm things, when we're intentional, I'm not saying like, frivolous, but I'm saying intentional. And we like see things as like an exchange that comes back, and an investment that comes back to us. Like that's how life ends up working for you. All right. I didn't think I was going to share that. I don't even know where that came from. But all right. I got to get to work today. So I hope you have an awesome day too. All right. Bye.